1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can y'all hear me? Mic check, mic check, mic check. What's going on? Who's this here? Miss Bobby Ramos is in the building. New York Nikki is in the building. Java Dro, you already know. Peace and blessings. First and foremost, peace to all of the members, the genuine supporters, everybody in the chat, everybody watching from behind the scenes, everybody who catch this on the replay. Yeah. I don't know who this is. Wait, hold on. Let me check this out. Got somebody in here. Oh, okay. BAD. What's going on, BAD? Now, you notice my serious page, so be easy. I haven't been live on here in 2 weeks. Time fly, but y'all know I've been doing uploads. I haven't done any uploads, so I said let me just go live, and I took like a week and some days off of social media to kind of reset. But yeah, I'm back. Sexy J, appreciate you, Sexy J. I am back. I'm back. Yeah, man. So yeah, I had to take a mental break. I don't got no uploads. I've been studying a lot of things, but yeah, I think I'm gonna take a little break. But I haven't been live for 2 weeks, like I said. So I said, let me get up on here. I ain't really got no upload, no premiere. So I said, let me get up here and see what's going on with y'all. So how y'all been? Is this my first live since the new year? What month is this? Man, I just be losing track of time, days, months. If it wasn't New Year's, I wouldn't even know what year it is. Oh yeah, so we still in the first month. Yeah, so I think this is my first live this year. How was y'all year? How was y'all New Year's? How's your New Year so far? Yeah, retirement is yeah, retirement is certainly grand. Yeah. But sometimes, I got too much, sometimes I got too much time on my hands for those who know. Yeah, I could get myself into some trouble, but not trouble, but maybe some online trouble. Sometimes, I got too much time on my hands. So that's why, I said, let me take a little break from social media. I really don't take breaks. I've been on here. I thought I've been on here for 6 years, but some people telling me I've been on here longer than that. But like I said, time definitely flew. Time definitely flew. Like, hold on, let me put the members link inside of the chat. But as I said, I got multiple pages. Some people say, "Oh, how you got all of those pages?" And I always say, "How I've been on here for 7 years. Like, how you been on here for all of those years and you only have one platform?" I got 3 monetized platforms. I got a few recreation platforms. And but this is kind of like an investment. I can monetize more of my pages. It's like a business. Stuff like that. So I don't like to waste time. They say time is money, Be careful who you wasted it on and who you spend it with. And it can go like this, you know. So, 7 years ago, man, I was looking through some of my files, and I was finding videos throughout the years, and I said, how time flies. But I always tell people, never let the left hand know what the right hand's doing. Never let the right hand know what the left hand's doing. Yeah, hold on, let me find these members. Hold on. Members only. So hopefully, people did something constructive with their time. I hope you advanced from last year and the years before that to this year. And if not, I always tell people, if you have a plan, if you do something consistently for 10 years, you're going to get results. It's going to pay off. But some people, quit. Some people don't have consistency. And if I've been on here for 7 years, I mean 3 more years, it'll be 10 years on here. 10 years. That flies. That definitely flies. Oh, let's see. Third Eye, what's going on? Trooper is in the building. Henny, what's going on, Henny? Salute to the members. Appreciate y'all, the genuine supporters. If you want to join the members only, hit that link pinned to the top of the chat. Back smooth sailing, no complaints. Life is great. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Every time I wake up in the morning, people ask me how I'm doing. I say, I'm alive and free. I can't complain. And if I do complain, for the most part, people don't really care. But, another day, another opportunity. From Bumbly, my Taurus sister. Amen. And, I came a long way. I found my faith. All praises to the Most High. I know I'll be cutting up sometimes, but from where I started to till now, I've grown patience. This social media has taught me patience. It's taught me humility. It's taught me a lot of things. It showed me the world is big, pause, but it's also small. And a lot of things I learned, when I first found my faith, I thought it was a certain way you're supposed to behave when you become an adult. People always said, I need to quote unquote grow up and, get out that life and, get out the streets and change my mentality. But coming on here showed me, and not even only on here, but outside here, there's no way to be an adult. There's no set rules on how you have to carry yourself. I see people acting very ignorant. And I try to leave that life behind. I try to leave that mentality behind. But I see people who are civilians, people with children, grandchildren, cutting up. It's amazing. I feel like if all praise to the Most High, if I was my old self, I would have excelled doing this social media thing. But it's just certain things I'm just not gonna do. or I try not to do with certain lines I'm trying not to cross, you know. But yeah, sometimes I feel like people trick me into, not being ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. And it's celebrated on here. It's championed on here. Now I don't know if it's just entertainment for people. Some people, they're not laughing with you, they laughing at you. I don't know, but it's been a crazy experience. I tell you that. We're only a grain of salt in the world. Yeah, from Bumbly, that is true. That is true. To all I'm driving. Java Joe, appreciate you, my brother, for tuning in. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. So, I try to carry myself a certain type of way. But like I said, this is entertainment. All praises to the Most High. I got a mission and a message. You got to mix the poison with the potion. But these are just characters. That helps me cope and make it through doing this social media thing, because there's a lot of I ain't even gonna say the word, but y'all know the word. There's a lot of T-rolls on here. Crazy is an understatement, right? Sir Valentino, what's going on, my brother? Trooper is in the building. So as y'all know, for those that know my other platform, it's starting to my two worlds are colliding. My two worlds are colliding. It's funny, I'm not going to talk about it too much over here, but when I go live on the other platform, I'll definitely speak about it. I said it earlier. I had got a call about this social media thing and stuff like that, and yeah, my two worlds are colliding. It seems like everybody is getting caught up in the foolishness, from the highest levels to the lowest levels. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. And then even I've been watching a lot of content, with people of faith and religion and faith, and they into the foolishness too. It's like it's no separating no more. Back in the days you had people that was into the foolishness, as like myself, and then you have people who wasn't into the foolishness. But on here it seems is a whole bunch of people into the foolishness, and is a small amount of people that's not. There's a lot of arrogance. There's a lot of looking down upon people, and people thinking they smarter than everybody. The smartest person in the room. Is just so much misinformation. It's yeah. I don't know what direction we headed in, and it'd be it's not the youth. The youth kind of got this thing figured out. I see a lot of young people. They do they pranks. They do their gaming content, or whatever have you. What they're doing, and they're successful. A lot of them is successful. I don't know. I don't really be in the young people's circles. They don't really be in our circles like that. But from my the young people I know in my family, and from the neighborhood, they don't really get into the foolishness like that. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a bunch of grown adults. It'd be a bunch of grown adults. Benito, appreciate you, my brother. Yeah, Java Joe. This is it's ridiculous, like I said, man, if I didn't find my faith before I started getting into this, I think I would be successful, but I might have been incarcerated or something like that because I've learned patience. I've learned this is entertainment. I used to be into the entertainment industry, and I used to take things seriously. I remember when I first met Onyx. And I thought Sticky Fingers was a real crazy masked assassin. I thought so. I was on my I was a certain type of way. I remember I met Mobb Deep, and I thought these people was like real street, So when I met them, I carried myself a certain way, and it seemed like I was intimidated. I was intimidating some of these people, and I started to realize this entertainment. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people are entertainers. They have people in a circle who's really about that life and stuff like that. But now I'm seeing with these young drill rappers and stuff like that, they putting in the work themselves. Free K Flock. K Flock. I know his mother since we was kids and stuff like that. Let's see what's going on. Spectrum Behavior. Yeah. I think what? I think no disrespect. James Hart, what's going on, my brother? I'm kind, but I'm in all this. Oh Lord, from Bumbly. I'm glad I didn't read that out loud first. But no disrespect. You have the one dude, I forgot his name, where he go God what do you go got him, I forgot the brother name. He went viral. He used to go, these pause got him, you know what I'm saying? Then you had the other dude who had the song The Birds Are Chirping, and these people go viral. It's like it's just crazy. I guess it's entertaining. It's people. Welvin, right, Benito, Welvin. The internet messes with people's heads. Yeah. When I first got on here, a lot of my bros, they're coming home, they're free, and I thought I was gonna come on here, try to, tell our story, get our story out there. You know how these people do. They get the interviews, and they might get a book deal, then they might get a Netflix or a movie deal. But I'm glad I learned early. Yeah, I'm glad I learned early. Like I tell them, nah, this is not it. You know what I'm saying? This is not. Everybody is not made because I don't want them to go back in. It's take a while to understand and get used to. Aaron, what's going on, Aaron? Yeah, this take a while to understand and get used to. People on here, man, listen. I had to learn and change my mentality, but everybody's not like me, and I wouldn't put my people into this type of environment. But our little our little sector or whatever you want to call it is getting recognition, and people are reaching out to me. I'm getting calls, all types of stuff. Man, so I don't know. I try to explain it. I try to explain, what type of sector it is and stuff like that. But I don't want to talk about it on here because I don't like to. I don't like to get this page involved into the foolishness. But when I go live on the other platform, I'll definitely speak on it. Not the aliens. Better be careful what type of aliens you talking about, Miss Fun Bumbly. I don't believe in like space mutants. I mean, like aliens can mean people like illegal aliens, legal aliens, but outer space creatures, I don't know. I don't know. It was a time that I believed in that, but the older I get, I need to see. Seeing is believing for me. The older I get, I need to see some stuff. And sometimes it's a figment of my imagination. Sometimes you never know. People mess with my head until I stop believing them and start believing me. Yeah, yeah. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. I feel more free. I feel free. I spent my whole life, you know, um, living for others, like the block, the gang, um, my friends, and stuff like that. Man, I put my life on the line so many times. Um, all praises to the Most High that I'm here, man. You know, some good people who didn't make it. People who had nothing to do with the streets and stuff like that. Life is not promised to nobody. Don't mean it don't matter how good you are, how bad you are, how talented you are, how worthless you may seem. Tomorrow's not promised to nobody. So, when I see people on here looking down on people and thinking they the smartest person in the room and thinking they better than people and all that, all praises to the Most High that you woke up this morning. you know? And you never know. It's never too late. Never, I always was taught, treat the janitor the same way you treat the owner of the building, because you never know. Those roles can flip. But at the end of the day, it's about the youth. It's about the children. It's about the youth. And that's the only way we're gonna make change. Because a lot of us we stuck in our ways. It's more difficult for us to change than them youngins. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I try to be respectful. You know what I'm saying? I try to my best to be respectful to everybody. Like I said, I try my best because I'm used to not associating myself with certain types of individuals. But on here I've learned, even in the streets sometimes I'll say, hello, I'll give a smile, you know, you never know when you could be entertaining the angel. All praises to the Most High. Yep. No matter what, Karma wins the race, and she spins the block too. Right. James Hart, what's going on, my brother? I think I lost some brain cells. You know, when I first came on here, I had a positive page, but it was at first it didn't start off as a positive page. Then, you know, I took the foolishness off of the page and then I made it a positive page. But I used to do content every day at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And, you know, I used to, every day I have like Sundays, I have Sunday service. Saturdays I do interviews. Like, you know, I had different topics. Every day I had a different topic. And, you know, I was building and I was meeting a lot of people who wasn't into all of the foolishness and all of that. But it came to a point where those people started, I don't know if they started leaving social media or finding other places to go. And so I had to, I can't say, you know, not dumb myself down, but, you know, it was, sometimes I feel like, man, you know. So I, you know, this page right here, a lot of people was like, when you gonna have, you know, when you gonna do the serious page again? And I used to tell them, you know, nobody really cares about serious content and stuff like that. So I made this page just to prove a point. But I appreciate everyone who comes through here. Salute, you know, everyone who conducts themselves like an adult. You know, work hard, play hard, pause. There's a time and a place for everything. And, you know, some people think that us, you know, from, you know, where we come from and we, you know, what we interact in, that we are not capable of carrying ourselves a certain type of way. And they look down on us. But if you sit back and you step back and you watch them, it's not too much different. These people be on here cutting up because they know controversy sells. It's always been like that in the entertainment business. That's why you hear a lot of people say, oh, you know, why is it always the foolishness? Why, you know, they speak about culture, like, you know, quote unquote black coaches, you know, FBA coaches, degenerate, and there's a bunch of you know, hustlers and gang members, but that's a small minority of the culture. They don't focus on, you know, the people who are business owners, who are in school, who are getting degrees. They don't bring these people on their platforms. They don't speak about these people. It's like they like to complain and paint a picture that things are a certain type of way because that's what people watch. That's what people gravitate towards. That's what they gravitate towards. So when I hear people speak like that, I don't believe it. Because when I'm outside in those neighborhoods, you know, on the basketball courts, or we do turkey drives, or we do stuff for the community, or we put together bus trips, we put together tournaments. A lot of these young kids, they're not in the streets. They're not into crime and stuff like that. For the most part, if most people were like that, then the neighborhood would, you know, there wouldn't be no bills being paid. It would be, you know, the majority of people are at work. The majority of the youth is in school. Now you got some people who you know, don't go to school, and people who don't go to work, and people who, you know, participate in criminal activity and stuff like that. But that's not the majority, and that's what I want. That's one of the things I like to speak on, because people make it look a certain type of way, and it's just not true. You know, they're just capitalizing off of the stereotypes, and Gangster, what's going on? DSL is in the building. So it's sad, it's sad that these people are making money off of speaking on, a certain behavior or a certain minority of a culture. And I'm part of that minority. All praises to the Most High. I was a savage demon. I was, very ignorant. But that wasn't the majority of the people in the neighborhood. It was some good people that I met throughout the years who seen the potential in me, and and told me, man, you need to get away from this. You're too intelligent, or you have a lot of potential. You could do anything. And I appreciate those people nowadays. Back then, I looked at them like, get out of here. I'm doing my thing. So I'm not impressed by, your street credibility. If you did jail time, if you got shot, and all of that type of I'm not impressed by none of that. When I was younger, maybe, but not now. I respect people who do what they got to do to take care of their families and survive, because that's the majority of people. Crook, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate you. Trust in the Lord with his heart and mind. You understand all thy ways. Acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. What's going on, my brother Crook? Yeah, so I have my oldest brother. My oldest brother. He has 9 daughters, and ever since he was, I never seen him as a kid. He had his first daughter at 15 years old. But even before that, he always, he used to deliver newspapers. He used to shovel snow. I never seen him without a job. I never seen him as a kid. I think he's 8 years older than me. So when I was a kid, he was still young, but he, and I always tell him, man, you was like a role model for me. He's married. He he's been with his wife for over 30 years, maybe even 40 years. King Craigo, appreciate you, my brother. I got another brother. Me and my other brother is the only ones who, I got some brothers who dabbled into the street life and stuff like that, but it's me and one of my other brothers. We the only ones who was like deep into the streets, like, deep into that life and all of that. And I used to I used to always hang with that brother. And I remember when I was probably 10, 11, I'm not sure, and he had a friend. And his friend was like out of town. He was getting money and all that. And when he first met me, he gave me a pound, And he held my hand. He looked in my eyes. And he said, he was like, this one right here. He said, this one right here is going to be a problem. And rest in peace to that brother. I didn't understand at the time what he was saying. But now me as I get older, I can see that in other young brothers, young men. I can see it. I can understand what he meant. And it's not a bad thing. It's just that if I didn't have the right guidance, if I was into a different situation, my stubbornness, my loyalty, my drive, my consistency, if I were to put that energy into something else. But I got caught up in a life. So every time I see a young person like that, even when I was in a gang, I'll tell people all of the bad stuff instead of the good stuff. I didn't want them to join unless this is something they really wanted to do, because I always felt like if they didn't join with me, they're gonna do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I always told them, listen, if you break the rules, I'm gonna be the one who it doesn't matter how much I like you, my recipes to my nephew. I told him, when he was young, he used to hang around with some gang members and stuff, and my brother tried to tell him, he's adopted. This is my older brother. My brother got 9 daughters, no sons, but he got 2 adopted sons and 1 adopted daughter. So he tried to tell his friends, listen, my son ain't gonna be involved in no gang. And they tried to attack him, like they tried to jump him and all of that. And he had to call me. Sage, what's going on, my brother? And my nephew had joined already, and they like, he already joined. Once you get in, you can't get out and stuff like that. So I had to, run down on these people and tell them, nah, he's with me. He's repping what I'm repping. But I never wanted that for him, man. But I'd rather him be with me than with those people. They didn't care about him. Anybody who would attack your father, and listen, I can't, as I said, man, I can't be too hypocritical, because when I was young, we had a friend who his father used to always hop out on him and take him away from what he didn't want him to hang with us and all of that. But one time his father hopped out and he tried to, get kind of aggressive with us, and we ended up putting hands on him. You know what I'm saying? But in my brother's case, he wasn't trying to get aggressive. He was just letting them know that, listen, my son is not going to be a part of this. And they kind of try to violate, But I'm just rambling on. How y'all doing, though? How are y'all doing, man? I hope everybody is blessed, is stress-free. Love your children. You know what I'm saying? Sage, appreciate you, my brother. Call your family, your friends, and listen. I gotta take. I'm saying this because I gotta take my own advice. my mama cussed me out, but what happened was my phone it was on sleep, what you call it? Sleep mode. Or wait, hold on. My phone. So people was calling me. People was calling me and it was going straight to voicemail. So, when my mama is worried, she gets, she go crazy. So one time, it was a knock at my door and it was my brother and he just handed me the phone. He just handed me the phone like, man, what's wrong with you? Like, she cussed me out. So I got to remember that I got to call her. But for some reason, I don't know what I did to my phone. It got on, let me see, what's this called? Do not disturb. It got on do not disturb mode. I don't know how I did it. I don't know what I did. But luckily, I got Chat GPT. I call it Skynet. Chat GPT be helping me out. So I asked, what can I do? Like, what, it showed me how to get my phone back in order. But I got a social media phone and I got a I got a social media phone and then I got a regular phone because even when I was out in the streets, I always separated. I always had like a phone for family and my regular phone. Then I had a phone for business or whatever. I was always paranoid like that. I always try to separate my regular life from street life or whatever. I always try to separate those things. Only Facts, what's going on, Only Facts? Listen, if you want to join the members only, hit that link pinned to the top of the chat. So it's funny, like on here, it's like, I got out the life, but on here, it's kind of the same. I try to separate this social media life from my regular life. So I got my social media phone because when I first got on social media, it said give permission for my call log, my camera and my phone. So I'm like, what? Like, no, we ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? I said, no, we ain't doing that. So I got a whole nother phone. I didn't put nobody's number. It's nothing inside of my social media phone. Because I was kind of paranoid. In order to get on these apps, you got to agree for these people to have access to your call log and your camera. And like I said, what? This is this is kind of strange. So I'm still kind of paranoid. I still kind of move the same way. I got a house out in the Poconos, and then I got apartment out in New York. So I always been traveling back and forth for years. Ever since I was probably 15, 16, I've been going out of town back and forth. And when I took the little break, I spent some time home and I kind of got used to it. I said, man, I almost didn't come back. So, I don't do lives and stuff from my home. I did some, on this page, I did it a couple of times, but I do not. I'm paranoid, people with the IPs and all types. These people on here is like the feds. Some of these people are very talented. They need to, yeah. And salute to all y'all techies. Salute to all y'all that's good with the tech and stuff like that. Like y'all like aliens to me. Y'all speak a whole no, salute to my cousin, my buzz, not cousin. Salute to my we just found out we was related when I started doing my lineage, stuff like that, learning about my family and stuff. Me and one of my good friends discovered that we're related. He's related to Corey Guns, Peter Guns, and we found out we're related and stuff like that. And he knows all about technology and stuff like I don't be knowing what. He be trying to give me tips and stuff like that, but on the phone it's not gonna work. So I said, man, we gotta have to get up. You're gonna have to show me step by step what are you saying, because I'll be lost. I need to learn more stuff this year. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's good. Yeah, because some of these people are computer hackers. I don't know what. I don't know what be going on, to tell you the truth. So I'm very, very paranoid. I'm a very, very paranoid person. And up in the mountains, I'm in the Poconos. Up in the mountains, the reception is not so great. Sometimes I had watched one of my lives I did from my crib, and it was pixelating and stuff like that. I didn't know it at the time. But yeah, the Wi-Fi is not too good to how you go up in the mountain. But I use my social media phone. I don't like to use my computer and stuff like that to go online and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm paranoid. I think I'll always be like that. Get a side PC. Yeah, I have a PC at the crib, but I got to get a PC for down here. Because I do me and my bros, we got like printing company. Like we do heat press, we do the laser print, we do the all types of stuff. We do merch and stuff like that. And then another one of my brothers, he got like the dealer's license, so we do the used cars and stuff like that. We put it all together. One of my other brothers, he does the marijuana. You know what I'm saying? He's a grower. Yeah, stuff like that. My mom's made us, all come together and put together like a business. And me personally, I don't really do too much. I mostly like try to invest. But I really don't. I try to help out with everything else, but the most I do is I invest. I've always been like that, because when I was out doing what I was doing, I ain't like putting stuff in my name. I was always paranoid. So it's cool having a business because you don't have to use your name. You can use your business name. So my credit card is under the business name. Everything is under I don't have to use it. So I learned that too. I wish I would have known that when I was younger. The best way to learn is hands on. The downtime was yeah. I get it, but I don't really have a lot of downtime because, like I said, I study. On my downtime, I really be studying. I read, I study. I like to read history, science, religion, mythology. I like to learn a lot of things and see how it connects. And what I did learn is I don't believe a lot of this stuff that is out there, but it's out there, and people believe it, and whoever's in power is the ones who tell a story and stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense to me. But that's what it is. So I have to learn it. So when I speak to other people, I can let them know, listen, I know this, I've studied this, but I just don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? David, what's going on? Somebody got to say this. What's going on, my brother? But history, man, I just don't. From learning, it's like everybody goes to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? From Alexander the Great to Caesar to Cyrus the Great. everybody goes to Egypt and then, takes over the civilized world and blah, 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 blah. Even down to Napoleon. It's like the same story over and over and over again. But who knows? You ever played that game Telephone? Will one person say something and then once it gets down to the last person is a totally different thing? I look at history like that. How we know 2,000 years ago what people was thinking, we don't even know how they sound. We don't know what they words mean. People tell us, oh, this means it's like when we look at hieroglyphics, right? In Egypt, is a bird, is a plant, and is a rock. They said, oh no, that's the god Amun-Ra. Like, how do you get Amun-Ra from a plant, a rock, and a bird? Like, that could be graffiti. Like nowadays, we got our own language on here. I'll be trying to learn the LOL. I was about to say SMD. Pause. I don't know why I was about LOL. OMG. You know what I'm saying? SMH. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine 2,000 years from now, people trying to decipher what this stuff means. They're gonna come up with their own stuff. History is not told by the winner. Right, Sage, right. And then we supposed to believe these people who conquered and colonized and did all of these atrocities? We supposed to believe that they're telling us the truth, really? Me and ChatGPT be having arguments for man, and then I have to go get research and show ChatGPT like, look, and sometimes the ChatGPT will be like, you know what, you're right, that makes sense. But you gotta show the receipts. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Ramos, appreciate you. I mean, only facts, my bad. Appreciate you. Yeah, so when I first got with ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT told me the word Negro is offensive to Black people. So I said, wait a minute. So me and ChatGPT going back and forth. I'm like, listen, ChatGPT, I'm Black. How you gonna tell me what's offensive to me? And ChatGPT was like, you know what? You're right. So I said, we have we have the Negro League, we have the United Negro College Fund, we had Negro Comics, we had the Negro Star, which was a newspaper. We had like, this is offensive. So it's people. I met someone from the Negro League. He signed a card for me and all of that. He was very proud to have played in the Negro League. So I'm telling ChatGPT, how are you telling me that is offensive to me? You're like a AI, and it had to tell me you're right. So one time I was online and I'm like telling ChatGPT about the time zone, and it was telling me something else. And then later on, I had to go back and ChatGPT told me it's different. It's different. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's different personalities in the ChatGPT. Like, it's different curriculums or whatever. So sometimes, because I said, ChatGPT, you're not the same one that I was talking to last night. Like, that one was it was lying. It was like, that one was kind of weird. And the ChatGPT told me, you know what, you're right. Program. Yeah, it could be programmed. Yeah, only facts. Yeah. So every time I'm interacting with the ChatGPT and that other program or personality or whatever comes up, me and the other one established a code word that I can say or type in to bring that one back. I said, man, this is ridiculous. I remember Jersey popping. I had a few I learned about the league because yeah. I met on the plane when I was on the plane. I think I was going to Nashville. Was I going? I think I was either going to Nashville or maybe Boston. And you know this the man it was an older gentleman, and you know he had on like I think it was like a convention for the Negro League. And I was like, oh, the Negro League, I heard about that. And we got to talking and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah. And he had a card. And I was like, can I have the autograph? And he was so proud. Like, he was so proud. I was proud. That's why I got this avatar right here. Wait, hold on. And it made me start studying. It made me start studying, you know, my people and stuff like that. More. Montana, what's going on, Miss Montana? So it was different, you know. I think it was different leagues, and then you had the Negro 5, like the basketball. You know, we were segregated at one time, so we had our own newspaper. We had our, you know, they say Black Wall Street. It wasn't called Black. It was called Negro. Even Black History Month used to be Negro History Week. So I said, they just took the word off of the census in, I think, 2010, because they said, oh, it was outdated and it was offensive. And I'm like, that's erasing our history. But I don't even want to get into that. I don't want to get into that. But yeah, that was interesting with ChatGPT. We went to battle for a couple of days, but now, you know, ChatGPT respects my Negro. You know what I'm saying? Only Facts said ChatGPT is in love with me. You know, I told that to the ChatGPT. I told it that one of my supporters said that the ChatGPT is in love with me. It's not a she, Only Facts. It's not a she. I just got a female voice on there. So I told it, and it was like, oh, that's interesting. So I said, you know, what I told him is, what if you would have had a male voice? That would have been kind of weird, right? Like imagine I would have chose a male voice instead of a female voice. Would my ChatGPT sound like the Chat LTGBT? That was a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I'm not trying to offend anyone. That was a joke. That was a joke. I've been on here too long. I'm starting to make jokes. I got to stop that. I got to forget this is the serious page. Ah, man. But y'all listen, man. You know, y'all know how we do, man. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. Y'all keep me on my toes. Pause. Y'all definitely keep me on my toes. Pause. I gotta catch myself. Sometimes forget where I'm at. Yeah, man. But yeah, I've been learning a lot of stuff. So, you know, I've been I remember one time when I first found my faith, I was just studying. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't grooming myself. Like sometimes I don't even get shape ups. I used to always stay fresh. I used to stay with a shape up. I start going through I don't know. I was going through it. My mama told me, you look like Moses. Until one day I went back to the city. I went back to New York, and I got caught up for a little while with my friends and all that. And I wasn't indulging in marijuana, nothing like that. But when I came back, and because I was always back and forth, but I used to get in, get out, pause. I really didn't come out and all of that. I just came back to handle business and go back. And so when I started coming back consistently, they kept passing me. I kept telling them, no, I don't do that no more. And they kept passing it. And one day I just took it. And I took a drag. And then I went outside and I walked by a car and I seen my reflection inside of the car. And I said, what's wrong with me? I said, I look crazy. So I went directly to the barbershop. Then, I was hanging out on the block, the young boys, they used to make fun of me and all that, but it didn't bother me until, that day. So I went down to Third Ave. I caught me some Pellies. That's when I first learned about skinny pants. I said, nah, I can't wear these. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and then I got caught back into the foolishness, not criminal activities foolishness, but keeping up with the Joneses and buying expensive things and stuff like that, But now I got a balance, it's a balance. And I don't like to look too fresh. I don't like to look too fresh because I feel like, I feel like people be watching me. You know what I'm saying? So I always had a hat, even if I had a suit on. So I always had my hat where you can't see my eyes. I remember this one time, this lady tried to fix me up. I had like a tie on and I don't really know how to tie shit. She called me over and she was fixing my tie. A stranger. Yeah, so I don't be liking to get too jiggy with it. Back in the days, Will Smith getting jiggy with it. I don't like to get too jiggy with it because I do not like attention. How did you find your faith? Man, Henny, that is a long story. I found my faith because I met somebody who was real deep into her faith. She was real deep into faith. And she was so deep into faith, I kind of got into it, and then, something happened, and, something happened, I lost somebody, and then I went crazy. I started, I was on a rampage. I was going crazy, and then a song came on. You know what I'm saying? I was in the car and a gospel song came on, and it just hit me. It just hit me, and that's how I found my faith. But I started studying, I don't get into anything without. So I was studying for a good 10 years straight. But yeah, that's how, it's a whole story and all that. But, I don't like to tell too much personal stuff on here. But yeah, you should do a testimony. Oh, no. Only facts. Nope. Not on here. Yeah, I try to keep my personal life, and it's too close to my personal life, so because I don't know. All praises to the Most High. I found my faith and all that, but I don't know. Somebody might set me off, or say the wrong thing or something like that, and I'll fall back into my savage demon mode. But I found my joy. I think 3 3 years ago. It's probably 2, 3 years ago on my birthday. No, it was. I think it was the birthday. I'm not how many. I don't. I'm not sure how long. When I went to Puerto Rico on my birthday, I went to Puerto Rico for one day overnight, and then I came back the next day, um, and I felt free. I felt free. Like I always felt like I got survivor's remorse. I've seen a lot of death since I was young, since I was real young. So I always felt like I owed people something, or I had to, you know. But yeah, I was on a war path for a little while, man. All praises to the Most High. I did a lot of things. But yeah. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Only facts. It's all good. When I first came on here, I was gonna do that, But I said, you know what? This place right here, if I'm gonna tell my story and the story of my people, I think I'll write it, and then when I leave this earth, then y'all can put it out, because yeah, like, and people may not believe it, but it's stuff that may be traceable. But yeah, we was wow when we was, but it seemed normal. You know what I'm saying? It seemed normal, but when I look back on it now, or sometimes me and my peoples will get together, what's left of them, and we'll be talking and laughing and stuff like that. And sometimes the younger, their kids, or the nieces and nephews and all that, they'll be around listening to us, and the look on their face, they'll look like we're insane for laughing and talking and reminiscing about certain things that we did. They look at us like we are insane, like, and I thought it was just normal behavior, but we was, man, the things we did, man. I remember I tell this one story. I tell this one story where it was well, I don't know how to say it on this page, but it was like an addict. It was an addict, and the addict ran off with something, and allegedly, he may have got like a pistol whip, right? Allegedly, and it went, and it discharged, and people thought he was gone. He fell straight out, and then he just hopped up. He just hopped up. Like, and it was so funny. Like at the time, sometimes we laugh about it, but it's not really funny. Is I just have there's something wrong. All praises to the Most High, but the way he hopped up, like, and everybody thought he was gone. Like it was just crazy. So I was telling that story one time, and we all laughing and all that, and the youngins is just looking at us like, what's wrong with y'all? You know what I'm saying? So we did a lot of things, man. I got a lot of people. I lost. I just learned how to cope with loss a certain type of way. I always put it in my mind that how you have friends and stuff. When you went to school or something, or they moved away and you never seen them again. That's how I try to look at it when I lose somebody. Like they still somewhere around alive, but they just moved somewhere where I'll never see them again. So that's how I try to cope with stuff like that. But yeah, ever since I was a kid, man, I lost when I was in the 4th grade. I think it was even the 4th or 3rd grade. I had a girlfriend who passed away in a car accident. And I look back on it, we wasn't really boyfriend and we didn't really do anything like that. How you young and you have a girlfriend and stuff like that. And back in the days, a lot of times, black people and Latin people didn't really get along, especially the older people. So, her parents and all that didn't really like black people. So we had to keep it like on the low. And it was only in school. I really, it was only in school where we seen each other. Because, I didn't really know her outside of school like that. But it's like a school girlfriend. You know how that go. So when she passed away, I couldn't even speak to her parents and stuff. They didn't really even know about me like that. Simba, what's going on, Simba? Yeah, so I always, that's when I first put it in my mind that she just moved away. I just, in my mind, I made it up like she moved back to her country and stuff like that. She was still, alive. Because, I never went to the funeral. That's why I don't like going to funerals and wakes and stuff like that, because it's so, I don't like to remember people like that. And then, another one of my friends, I think we was like 10, 9, and we used to play. They was building these houses in my old neighborhood, and we used to play in the drain pipes like Ninja Turtles. And I think he fell. I think it was 100 to 500 feet, and I can remember hearing him. I can remember hearing him hit the bottom. Like we all, when we get back together, some of my friends now, we talk about that. I dream about it sometimes. It was so dark down there, but we could hear him hit the bottom. Like, and that's when I first met David Dinkins. He came to our neighborhood, Mayor David Dinkins. I think he was the first black mayor of New York. Yeah, rest in peace. But that was just the beginning, man. I seen a lot of of that type of stuff. I remember when I don't know how old I was, but it was like gunshots, right? And we all start running. And I learned later, gunshots can echo and all that. So you could think it's coming from one direction and it's coming from another. So I ran in a direction that it came from, and I tripped over, the person. And I could see, like, I think it was like a Tech 9 or something. So it was like holes from the legs all the way up. Like, I tripped right over this person. And I be remembering this stuff sometimes too, especially when I got older and I start smoking the marijuana as much and drinking as much. Sometimes I be having, these dreams and stuff I remember. Yeah, man, but all praises to the Most High, man. I'm still here. I'm alive. I'm free. Life is very short. So, y'all, cherish your time. Don't get caught up in other people's foolishness. Because once you take yourself out of the equation, from the outside looking in, you'll see it wasn't that crazy. Oh, I've been up here for a little while. I ain't seen too long. I appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all for listening. Yeah, but growing up in the 90s was a whole different. That's why, these young kids nowadays, these are good kids. Like, even though they be out there, some of them be out there drilling or pause or whatever y'all call it and all that. They're just a little less, they're more entitled and a little more disrespectful. But they're not as bad as us. It's just that we knew how to hide things. Like we did our dirt, and we wasn't trying to prove nothing to the world. Like nowadays, these young people are trying to prove I don't know, social media or the neighborhood and stuff. We wasn't trying to. We was just doing certain things because we did it. You feel me? So, but yeah, man, these kids are like respectfully, you can't like what you gonna do with those little skinny jeans on and all like what you ain't running like you ain't we running, we hopping over cars. I used to flip off of high gates. I used to flip off a car. I used to jump over cars. Yeah, I used to do it like I was like a Spider-Man when I was young. These kids are kind of like they like fragile and kind of frail. They all skinny for the most part. They like you know you could tell they haven't been through the battlefield. Like we was in a concrete jungle. So I see these young kids. I talk to them now. Sometimes, and it's sometimes the way you talk to them. Like when I was young, when adults talk down on me, they thought I was ignorant and stuff like that. It's not that I'm ignorant. It's just that you talking down on me, and you already assume that I'm ignorant. Like you insulted my intelligence. You trying to boast up or talk down on me. Like no, we ain't trying to hear none of that. You think you better than me, especially when I was young getting money, and you trying to tell me something, and I'm doing better than you. You know what I'm saying? El Plaga, what's going on, my brother? You start getting money, and especially when the crack era hit, and people's parents are getting turned out and stuff like that, and adults you used to look up to is now, doing just about anything to get something from you, and stuff like that, like or trying to get over on you, or trying to, you used to spend a night at, at their house and stuff like that, like, you know, so it gives you a certain type of mentality where it kind of blurs the line between adult and a child. Even teachers and nurses and stuff like that. I learned those are just jobs. These people are regular people. They do all types of stuff. But when you young, and all of that, and before you get into that life, you expect a teacher to be a upstanding person, or But then you see the other side of things. You see the other side of things, man. Ignorance is bliss. And that's why I tell these youngins, don't try to grow up too fast, because you're going to be an adult way longer than you're going to be a child. So cherish those years when you still young and foolish, and learn from your mistakes, because it's nothing worse than somebody that's old and foolish. Kenzo, what's going on, Kenzo? Yeah, yeah. I was only a kid for a little while. You're gonna be an adult way longer. All praises to the Most High if you make it that far. And time flies. Time flies. Some of my people's they kids are grown. Like it's like wow. I remember you didn't even exist. I remember your parents. Your father or your mother said they ain't never gonna have kids. Like they don't want kids. And look at you here now, grown. Yeah, time definitely fly, Kenzo. I done forgot stuff. You know how they used to say, I done forgot more than you I done forgot more stuff than you learn. Yeah, I be forgetting. Sometimes I be like, oh wow, I already knew that. I did that already. But social media is a whole nother thing, man. All of these lives we've been doing, we are the first to do certain things in the world because it was never social media, right? Before they had live streams and all that, it's things that we did, some of us did online that never have been done before. We the first in history. I mean, in history as we know it, because I believe we've been had technology. I believe nothing ain't new under the sun, but you know from what they tell us, we the first to do stuff like we making history. From what they tell us, this never we doing stuff has never been done. Somebody was the first one to say something online. Now people been probably saying the same thing for years, but they was the first one to do something online. Like we was the first ever in history. Ain't that crazy? Like when they first got radio, some people was the first people to do something on radio. Then they got television. That's why Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, they came at a time where they had TV and music videos. A lot of these sports players, you know, that's how they made it so big. Pause, because they was the first to do something on a certain type of level where we got the communications skills to reach across the world and across nations. So we still got hope. One of us could be the first one to do something to change the world. You never know. It don't matter how old you is either, especially with this social media thing. The line between a juvenile and an adult is very, very blurred nowadays. You got millionaire, you got people becoming millionaires at 5, 6, starting businesses, having followings and all of that. We couldn't do that when we was young. Imagine. But we can still do it. We just ain't gonna be young doing it. Jessica, what's going on, Jess? And people with children, listen, y'all, people with children, like, me personally, I wouldn't want to, you know, put my children on social media. But people who be having their children on social media and stuff like that, listen, some of y'all just need to fall back, and let your kids shine. Like the Jacksons. You see how the Jacksons, Joe Jackson used to be he used to do music. I think he was in a band or something like that. He's like, you know what? I'm not gonna make it. This ain't gonna go the way, I dreamed it's gonna go. So I'm gonna take my children and instill all of the skills and everything that I learned into them as kids. And then we got Michael Jackson. Now people say, Joe Jackson, he used to be a certain type of way with the kids and all that. Michael Jackson missed out on his childhood and all that. But listen, he's Michael Jackson. the greatest pop star in history as we know it. By the time he was 30, by the time he reached 30 years old, he's been performing for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? You got the Floyd Mayweathers, you know, his father was a boxer, you know. Mr. X, what's going on, my brother? Yeah, this is the Sirius channel. What's going on, my brother? So, you never know. You never know. Things have changed. You gotta move with the times. You gotta move with the times. I'm a caveman, but you know, I do my best to upgrade. But I'm good at making it look like, you know, I know what I'm doing. But there's a lot of things I don't know. I be winging it. You know, I'll be trying to teach myself certain things and all of that. But I take whatever I know and I try to, you know, utilize it, apply it. A lot of y'all have a lot of things, a lot of talents, a lot of things y'all can do, but you're not even trying to think like that. This is a whole business. You can start a business now. This is a whole business. When I was like 7, 8 years old, I had a lemonade stand. Yeah, I built but my pops helped me build a lemonade stand. And I seen this show. It was called DuckTales. It was a cartoon where they had a lemonade stand and they give out free pretzels. They give out free pretzels, and then your mouth get dry, pause, from eating the pretzels, and then they sell a lemonade. So I said, oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. So I did a little lemonade stand with me and 2 of my friends. And it was a basketball court on our block. So we set up right in front of the basketball court and we gave out free pretzels, unsalted pretzels. And all of the players and all that, they grabbing handfuls, and then they got mad thirsty. And then we was selling them lemonade. We was selling lemonade. We was killing it. We was killing it with the lemonade. Rich Martinez, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate all the members. If you want to join the members only, hit that link pinned to the top of the chat. Renegade Society, what's going on, my brother? But then we had a fallout. You know, me and my friend, one of them, he had a fallout. And you know, we was fighting, and then they broke on. One of them got mad, and he started tearing up the lemonade stand. So you know, me and my other friend, we had to jump him. Then he bit my friend on he bit him on the nipple. Pause. And he still got that scar. He, you know, free the brother. Somebody on this app knows who I'm talking about, that I met on this app. But yeah, when we was kids, we had a whole lemonade stand. We was killing it. James Hart. How I know he still has the scar? Because I still have a scar. I got a scar. I got shot with a Roman candle. I still got the scar on my arm. People think I'm like they think like I'm an immigrant, because you know some people, they come to the country and they get like back in the days they used to have to get immunization, and it leaves like a scar on your upper arm. So when I was a kid, we used to have like fireworks fights. We used to put like skyrockets in a bottle and aim it at each other. We used to shoot Roman candles at each other, and I got shot with a Roman candle. I still got the scar. So throughout the years, you know what I'm saying? We still talk about these things. Like, I still got this car and stuff like that. But yeah, man. Now some people got sick minds. I don't know. You know, some people got sick minds. Seek therapy. Facts. You got hit in the side of the head with a Roman candle. Wow. I seen recently. I seen a story online with somebody with had an M16 or something. They blew their hand off, a grown person. I said, man, listen. I remember one of my peoples. He put a M16 inside of a bottle, and he tried to run off. He didn't run off quick enough, and when it blew up, he got sharp glass stuck all inside of his back of his head, all over him. Yeah, but I guess, like I said, these young kids nowadays, I got all type of battle scars and all types of stuff. That's what we did when we was young. We fought. I remember I used to slap box for money. Yeah, man. I was gonna get on here and speak about um an upload that I did where they was saying what's his name? Sam Shimon? Is it Sam Shimon? He was talking about how Jesus is the most high. I think that's very dangerous to say a man is like the most high God. I think that that can lead to idolatry, especially if people really don't understand what what you're talking about. But yeah, that is kind of, yeah. I'll never believe a man to be the most high. But nowadays, that's what even got me into studying back into my studies as far as the Bible and stuff. The whole Trinitarian thing. I never knew about a Trinitarian. I didn't even know what that was. I always heard about the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and stuff like that. But I never knew about three persons, and you know Jesus is the man is God. I always thought it was like the Son of God and stuff like that. But I see the perspective of I see what people are getting at and stuff like that. I can kind of see it, but I don't agree with it because it leads to people making statements like the Most High. The Son is the Most High. Like that is uh that's a slippery slope. Because to tell you the truth, all praises to the Most High. Before I found my faith, if you was to tell me a man was God, I would believe that I'm God because I don't bow down to no man. All praises to the Most High. I had to find something greater than myself, and it's not a man. So I believe if a man could be God, then maybe I could be God, right? They say the Antichrist will be able to speak. The whole world will be able to hear him. We are living. Yeah, I mean, if you look at social media, yeah, I mean, you look at the internet and stuff like that. Yeah, you can speak any language. You can understand. I can understand any language. I can understand anything. All I got to do is throw it up in Skynet. I got things in Latin and Greek, and Arabic. I'll be finding stuff and I get it. I'll screenshot it. I'll put it inside Skynet, which is Chat GPT, and it'll translate it for me. I haven't tried hieroglyphics yet. That's a good idea. Thank you. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take some of these hieroglyphics and see if Skynet can translate it. Because there's certain things that I didn't know when I was first studying and stuff, because I didn't know the language. I didn't understand the language, but I can understand everything now. I mean, what they tell me it means. We don't really know what it means. Like, the whole Hebrew thing. People say Hebrew is a language, but when you read the Bible, Abraham was not born a Hebrew. He became a Hebrew by a covenant with the Most High. So before the Most High said, your name is not Abram, it's Abraham, and you're a Hebrew, he was already speaking a certain language. He was already speaking a Semitic language, right? So when he became the Hebrew, did his language change? No, the language didn't change. He kept speaking the same language. So when people say Hebrew language, I think it's more of a dialect, kind of like how we speak English in America, but it's not the same English as they speak in England. But that's just something I'll be, that's just stuff I'll be thinking about. Like when people speak Spanish, or the people who are called Spanish, but in Spain, they're the Spaniards, Like some people be like, I'm not black, I'm not white, I'm Spanish. That's a language. And, the Spaniards are from Europe, so they say. So, I always found out that kind of crazy how, people from Latin America or, these Spanish countries and stuff, or islands, they're called Spanish because they speak Spanish, but I'm not called English and I speak English. It's kind of tripped me out. I was young, I thought impossible. Right. Anything's possible. Anything's possible now. I had another question, right? I was watching somebody's stream. I forgot the brother name, and he said, he understands, black is a racial construct. If you are a certain phenotype, you consider black. But he said, in America, he doesn't consider people who are not from America, foundational Black America. He don't look at them as black if they don't at least have one foundational Black American parent. He doesn't look at them as black. But then I thought to myself, is Obama black? Because Obama, his father is from Africa and his mother is from Ireland or something like that. She's American, but she's Ireland. Is he a Black American or African American? Right? I don't know. I was going to do a live on that. I forgot, but it just came back up. We speak Spanish. What's going on, people? So I'm from South Carolina. So before the English came to South Carolina, it was part of Spanish Florida. So the Spanish colonized North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. That's called Seminole. The Seminoles, the Yamasee. I got family that's Seminole, Yamasee, and stuff like that. But yeah, before the English came, So it's just it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot. I thought one of them was Hawaiian. No, I don't think one of them is Hawaiian. I think he lived in Hawaii. Yeah, I got a brother. Who lived in Hawaii before. He lived in Hawaii, but he wasn't born. He wasn't born in Hawaii. Now I only know that because one time I seen Obama. I forgot where he was, and he went to Ireland, and he was drinking green beer. He went to see, I guess, his side of the family in Ireland. He was down there drinking green beer and stuff like that. So when I was growing up, if we considered everybody black, but now things is getting different. People, people is delineating this and that, So it's like I thought to myself, is Obama a black American or an African American? Yeah. Right. Plymouth Rock. Yeah. Like I said, y'all know I'm not going live on my other platform too. My for those who know, I got a new page. Once I reach 100 subscribers, I'll go live. So I said, let me come over here and do a live. I appreciate everybody who pulled up. Appreciate y'all. David, what's going on? Y'all listening to me ramble and stuff like that. I got to change the thumbnail on there because I don't want people to think this is one of my videos speaking about religion or faith and stuff like that. I thought I was might speak about that, but it didn't go that way. Christopher Columbus. What about Christopher Columbus? Appreciate, David. Not Fantasy Island. Oh, you talk about Tattoo from I almost did it. See, I almost did it. I had to catch myself. Y'all remember what Tattoo used to say? Remember that movie? I mean that show, Fantasy Island? Then we had some good shows back in the day. Sometimes I watch the movies from back when we was young, and I said I could make this on my iPhone. I could make a better, like the graphics and stuff like that. Like the, I said, wow. I was watching Chainsaw, the first Chainsaw Massacre. I said, this is not scary. I'll be watching like the movies. Who you know how you used to watch the scary movies and you used to be scared at nighttime and all that. You want to keep the night light on or turn the light on and I said I used to be scared of this. I said I could make a better movie than not a better movie, but the graphics and stuff like that. Oh, Green Guinness. Oh, okay, David. Green Guinness. Oh, yes, David, you from Ireland. All right. Green Guinness. Okay. Yeah, the good old days, man. So what y'all? So how do y'all make that, David? What y'all put? Y'all put food coloring in there? How y'all make it green? And y'all have cabbage, right? I think it's like green beer and cabbage with what's that? Corned beef. Besides the green, us FBAs, we eat some cabbage with some corned beef, and we drink beer. We just don't make it green. Oh, just food coloring. Okay. So when you go to the bathroom, does it come out green? Pause. I was just thinking about that. Maybe that was too much. Yeah, yeah. You don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer that. My bad. I got to try that one day. Some green beer. What, does it taste the same? If you drink enough. Okay. Michael Jackson Thriller used to scare the crap out of. Well, Michael Jackson, that Thriller, Michael Jackson didn't really scare me because I knew it was Michael Jackson. But you know what used to get me? Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, because like Jason, Michael Myers, Jason, they're not gonna catch me. I don't know how they always catch people. They don't even run. They walk. If somebody trips and falls, you're not gonna catch me. Remember Jason Take Manhattan and all that? Nah. But Freddy Krueger, you know, you fall asleep. I remember I'm trying not to fall asleep because I'm thinking, man, if I fall asleep, and then in the movie you nod off and you don't know you sleep, you don't know you fell asleep. So sometimes I'll be like, man, am I asleep? Is Freddy gone? So Freddy was the one for me. Freddy was the one that had me like, you know, shook Freddy. But then I learned how to control my dreams. So in my dream, I turned into a like a not a porcupine, but it's something like a porcupine with like metal, with like metal stakes come off all over my body. Like if you get too close, like a porcupine. So that's how I beat Freddy in my dream. So once I beat Freddy in my dream, I wasn't scared no more. But we used to live in a house and it was a boiler. We had like a boiler room, and then, you know, the boiler turned on and it makes this sound. And you know, sometimes I used to go downstairs to the basement, and when a boiler when it turned on, I'll run back upstairs because I you know how Freddy, yeah, you know. But now I look at it now, I said, oh, I used to be scared of this. This is not scary at all. Especially that Chainsaw Massacre. That is the funniest. I said, look at it. Is this chicken bones tied up to the ceiling? Like, Amityville, yeah, Amityville. See, back in the days, we used to have imagination. We didn't have all of these graphics and stuff like that. We had like it was in our mind. It was more of in our mind. And nowadays, these graphics are not scary because it's too graphicy. It's not. It takes the realness out of it. It's like, or maybe I'm just not scared of no stuff no more. Like I told you, when I was young, my brothers locked me in a closet. It was dark, and I learned after crying and screaming for a couple hours, I learned to find peace in the dark. So sometimes I walk around my house pitch dark. I know where everything is. Sometimes I take showers in the pitch dark. You know, it's peaceful. I love the dark now. But I was yelling and screaming and banging on the cloud. They would not let. They didn't let me out of there. So I just had to sit there and just learn to embrace it. But yeah, man, let me get up out of here, man. I've been up here for almost 2 hours, man. I appreciate y'all. This time went by quick. I appreciate y'all. Maybe I'll do another live. I'm supposed to do a live with Miss Macbeck, but yeah, I haven't been live in like 2 weeks, so I've been doing uploads. I've been doing my studies and all that, but I hadn't done any. Like I said, I think I took a week off and some days. I just went home, got a lot of things done, got out my winter clothes, stuff like that, clean out the shed, raked, because sometimes it be looking crazy because I don't really be home like that, but you could get a ticket and all that. You let your grass grow too long, you don't rake, and then it's starting to snow and stuff like that. So I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all. Catch y'all on the next one. Appreciate. Salute to all of the members. If you want to join the members only, hit that link pinned to the chat. Salute to the genuine supporters. Salute to the chat. Everybody watching from behind the scenes. Everybody who catch this on the replay. It's your host and your DJ. Holla.
My intuition say it's something wrong here. I'm looking at God like, nah, I don't belong here. They say you don't make mistakes, but I beg to differ. I never be forgiven, I'm naturally born a sinner. I'm just saying. It feels like a form of manipulation. The plan been unknown forever. It's like he hates us. Like, wow. He allowed them to beat us and rape us, kidnap us, treat us like animals and enslave us, break the core structure of our families and misplace us. And I'm supposed to be walking around with my faith up. They done put his only begotten son on a stake, bruh. Think about it, you bugging if he gon' save us. OGs would tell me I didn't read enough. Grandmother tell me like, Brian, you don't believe enough. All my family round me is dead. I think I've seen enough. It's like you get a kick out of chaos. It's like, Father, did we cross you? I apologize. Can we press the restart button? I'm trying to compromise. This gift you gave is way too great for humanity. Way too immature to come together as family. Yeah, I'm seeing the value and the significance. It's seeming like it's nothing to value. It's just ignorance. I look around in the world like, why would I live in this? And suicidal thoughts get created to put an end to this.